These are 50 everyday phrases in Spanish that you need to know. Let's start off really easy. First, we have hola, just meaning hello. Pretty easy. This can also mean hi or hey. Next, we have buenos días, buenas tardes, and buenas noches. Now, here in Mexico, it's very common that when you walk by someone, you're not going to just say hola. Like maybe in English, we'd be walking around and say, hey, how's it going? Kind of thing. If you see someone, oh, hey, what's up? Whereas in Mexico, it's more common that we'll say something like buenos días, buenas tardes, or buenas noches. Now, buenos días is considered basically morning up until 12. Then after 12, it'll be buenas tardes until the sun goes down, and then it will be buenas noches, good evening or good night. ¿Cómo estás? Meaning, how are you? If I were to get rid of the S here, and I were to just turn that into ¿cómo está? Now it's talking about usted, which is formal, all right? So, ¿cómo estás? Informal, right? Tú, ¿cómo estás? Whereas ¿cómo está? Would be, how are you? Formal, okay? And then we can respond to that with estoy bien. Gracias. I'm good. Thanks. Or everything's okay. Thanks. All right? Estoy bien. Gracias. Remember that with estoy, this is temporary, okay? If I said something like soy bien, that's incorrect because I'm not good forever. Soy is more permanent, whereas estar is more temporary. So I would just say estoy bien, okay? ¿Y tú? And you? How are you? Are you good? Mad? Estoy bien. Muchas gracias, okay? Now, notice here with tú, okay, we have that little accent right there, okay? This lets us know that it means you. Without an accent, let's pretend, okay, accent is gone. Tú now means your, okay? So in writing, that's how we tell the difference between the two. But what about when you're having a conversation with someone? How do you know the difference between tú and tú? They both sound exactly the same. Context clues, okay? So tú without an accent means you, and tú with an accent, no, tú without an accent means your, tú with an accent means you. I apologize, this thing is going all over the place. I just started learning how to film on here, so I apologize. Okay, there we go. Excellent, moving on. Mucho gusto, meaning nice to meet you. Literally meaning much pleasure, but it just means nice to meet you, okay? You could say something like encantado, for example, which literally would translate to enchanted, or it's my pleasure. But it just sounds a bit formal, so we don't really use it that much. You can just say mucho gusto, okay? Next we have igualmente, meaning likewise or same to you. However, it's very common that we would just say igual. So you don't need to say igualmente. So I could say mucho gusto, and I can just say igual. I can say igualmente, both mean the same thing, but many people would just use igual because it's shorter, okay? Next, adios, think you know that one, meaning goodbye. And let's talk about some vocab that we can use for common conversations. So something like, ¿qué haces? What are you doing? Now notice how haces here is in the present simple. So you might read that and think, oh, this means what do you do? And technically this could mean what do you do. So I could say, ¿qué haces en tu trabajo? What do you do in your work or at your work? Whereas here, haces is being used as this ing verb. Kind of interesting. Remember that the present simple, okay, something that's just in the regular present tense, can also be used as an ing verb to talk about things that are happening now or in the near future, okay? So I could say something like, ¿a dónde vas? For example, where are you going, okay? This could mean, where do you go? But the idea is, let's say I'm leaving the house. My mom's like, where do you think you're going? ¿A dónde vas? Because that's going to happen right now or in the near future, it will take on that idea of an ing verb in English, okay? Next, no mucho, just meaning not much. Careful with mucho, right? Mucho means much, and muy means very, okay? Muy means very, it's not much, okay? Número 13, ¿dónde estás? Where are you, okay? ¿Dónde estás? Now, what's going on with the accents? Why do we have accents here, okay? Well, on donde, the only reason that we put an accent on here is not because the pronunciation of this word changes. It's actually because we are asking a question. So if you ask me, ¿dónde estás? And I say, estoy donde, I am where you and I met for the first time. I'm not going to write all of that, but let's just say, estoy donde. Now, donde actually doesn't have an accent over it. It would just be the regular o, okay? However, with something like estás, I'm going to get rid of this. Look, I can be smarter, work smarter, not harder. Use the little eraser here. Whereas with something with estás here, okay, this lets us know that it is coming from the verb estar and does not mean estas, okay? Estas means these. For example, estas botellas, these bottles. Notice how the pronunciation is different. That emphasis is falling on that first E. So it's estas botellas instead of estas botellas. Okay, so ¿dónde estás? Where are you? Whereas estas botellas would mean these bottles. Okay? Estoy en casa. I am at home. Estoy en casa. When I just say en casa, then it takes on that translation of home. Where if I said estoy en la casa now, okay, la would just mean I'm at the house. Okay, slightly different translation there. So estoy en casa, I'm at home. Estoy en la casa, I'm at the house. Okay, gonna get rid of that. So cool. I'm loving this new iPad. It's fun to have the text on screen and be able to kind of mess with it in real time because my writing is not great, but if we can just have these phrases. Anyways, I don't want to bore you. I think it's awesome. Leave me a comment if you like this. I think it's cool. Okay, next. ¿Qué pasa? What's up? Now, ¿qué pasa can sometimes have a negative connotation, meaning like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? ¿Qué pasa? Another thing that we say here in Mexico, if we think something is wrong with someone, we can say something like this. Let's say I'm talking to my girlfriend. I say, oye, amor, ¿qué tienes? Literally, what do you have? Just meaning, what's wrong? Oye, ¿qué tienes? ¿Todo bien? Okay, or ¿qué pasa? What's going on? What's happening? Okay, so it could mean, hey, what's up, man? But it can also mean, what's going on? Is everything okay? All right? Nada. No pasa nada is something that you could use to respond to that. ¿Qué pasa? No pasa nada. Todo bien. Okay? Nada just meaning nothing. Now, nothing can also mean something in Spanish. So let's say I said this. No dije nada. This means I didn't say anything, or I guess something. I think anything is a better translation here. No dije nada. I didn't say anything. That's why when you hear a native Spanish speaker speaking English, they might say something like, I didn't say nothing. It's because in Spanish, nada means anything as well, right? In addition to nothing, okay? No lo sé, meaning I don't know. Now, the lo here is optional. I could just say no sé, whereas lo is just adding extra emphasis. I don't know what happened or what's going on. No lo sé. But you can also just say no sé, okay? Claro que sí, meaning of course. You can also just say claro if you want. Claro sí, claro que sí, sin problema, okay? Now, if you want to say of course not, now you would just say claro que no, okay? Claro que sí, of course. Claro que no, of course not, okay? No importa, let me erase that. No importa, it doesn't matter, or it does not matter, okay? Finally, está bien, it's okay, or está bien can also mean sounds good, all right? Sí, está bien, sounds good, okay? Está bien. Recently, one of my good students, David, asked me this question. How do I say okay in Spanish? And I said there's many different ways you can say it. You can say está bien. We also have literally just okay. We say that. You can have sale, which is used here in Mexico, like sounds good. We also have vale, which is more common in Spain. You can also use it in Mexico. We also have something like va, which I personally use all the time. So, hey, nos vemos en la fiesta, va, okay? Like, okay, or sounds good. You can also take it to another level and turn it into this, va que va, which is the same thing, basically just mean sounds good. And you can also say something like this, me parece bien, which basically just means sounds good, or that seems good to me. So, oye, nos vemos a las 10? Sí, me parece bien, okay? So all those are different ways that you can say okay, all right? Next, for politeness and help, por favor, just meaning please. Now, if you want to be a pro, you could say something like porfa, which is just a quicker and easier way to say it. More informal, but works great. And if you want to be cute, typically use it if you're a girl, you say something like porfis, meaning please. Just a cute way to say please, okay? Gracias, meaning thank you, okay? And de nada, literally meaning of nothing, just meaning you're welcome. We can also say something like no hay de qué, which is basically just kind of like saying don't mention it. No worries there. Okay? 24, perdón. Okay? Now this is important, okay? Perdón means excuse me or sorry. course, can also mean pardon, okay? But perdón is kind of the softest way to say sorry about something. Now, disculpa is typically used when trying to get by someone, okay? So, an example here I could give to you is disculpa, like, con permiso, excuse me, like, I'm trying to get by, okay? You get by, but then you bump into someone, you say, ay, perdón, or like, oh my gosh, excuse me, or sorry, okay? Now, we also have, as you might know, lo siento, meaning I'm sorry. Literally, this means I feel it, and I would argue that lo siento is the strongest version of I am sorry. Most often, I will use perdón. However, you can also use lo siento, okay? So, disculpa, okay, is, you're trying to get someone's attention, right? Disculpa, hey, can I get by? Disculpa, con permiso, okay? Then you walk by, you bump into someone, ay, perdón, sorry, excuse me. And then let's say someone says, oh, this is a bad example, but, my cat recently passed away. You could say, lo siento mucho, I'm so sorry, okay? A little bit stronger version of it, sorry, okay? Número 26, no hay problema, okay? Just meaning no problem, sounds good. And we can also say something like this, which my buddy Jacob absolutely loves saying this. And when I taught it to him, he would not stop saying it. No pasa nada, all good. Literally, nothing is happening, all good, okay? No problem, no worries, no pasa nada, okay? No entiendo, I don't understand. Now, many students will say this, no comprendo, which sounds a bit odd because it sounds like you're saying, I do not comprehend. I do not comprehend this complex mathematical equation, okay? It's better to just say, no entiendo when speaking to someone, okay? No entiendo, I don't understand, okay? Número 28, puedes repetirlo, okay? Lo representing it, okay? Can you repeat it, all right? Or you could also say something like this, puedes repetir eso, meaning that. Okay, eso is what we call the neuter, doesn't have a gender. So eso just means that. This could be for a situation or some idea. Whereas ese is the masculine singular of that, right? So ese lápiz, that pencil. Or I could say esa botella, that bottle, which is the feminine. Okay, but eso is just the singular, or excuse me, the neuter. So we say, puedes repetir eso? Can you repeat that? Okay. You could also say something like, puedes repetir esa palabra, for example, which is more specific. However, eso is kind of the standalone version of saying that, okay? If I say, puedes repetir esa, sounds a bit strange. It's better to say, puedes repetir eso, okay? We'll get rid of that there. All right, número 29, más despacio, por favor. Slower, please, okay? There we go. Or remember, you can also say, porfa, okay? ¿Me puedes ayudar? Can you help me? Now, interesting thing here, we have me coming before this conjugated verb, meaning can you, okay? So, me puedes ayudar. Now, many students will ask me, Nate, couldn't I also say something like this? ¿Puedes ayudarme? Okay, ¿puedes ayudarme? Okay, sorry for my terrible writing. So now, me, which is our object pronoun, is attached on the end of ayudar. So, is there any difference here? No, it means exactly the same thing. So, me puedes ayudar or puedes ayudarme both mean can you help me, mean the same exact thing. This is just a preference thing. Now, here's what I'll say. Puedes is the conjugated verb, the first conjugated verb of the sentence. And our rule for object pronouns and where we place them is that they always come before the first conjugated verb. Here, I'll put it up here so it's a little easier to see. So it always goes before that first conjugated verb in the sentence. So if you're not sure if you can attach it onto the end of a verb, just play it safe and put it before, okay? All right, muy bien. I'm once again learning. Okay, there we go. Awesome. This is so fun. Okay, número 31. ¿Cuánto cuesta? How much does it cost? Okay, cuesta just referring to whatever item we're talking about. But let's say I'm talking about, I don't know why I always use bottles as the example, but let's say I'm talking about bottles, right? And I say, hey, how much does this bottle cost? ¿Cuánto cuesta esta botella? But now let's say it's plural, and let's say I have many bottles. Then I would say, ¿cuánto cuestan? Okay, ¿cuánto cuestan? So how much do they cost? Okay, so ¿cuánto cuesta? How much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuestan? How much does it cost? Okay, quiero esto. I want this. Okay, once again, this is the neuter. Okay, it's not masculine. I know it ends in O, so you might think it's masculine, but no, this is the neuter. So it can stand alone by itself. I can just say quiero esto, for example. But if I say este or esta, then I need to put the noun afterwards. So I would need to say something like quiero esta botella, for example, or quiero este lápiz, for example. Okay? Tengo hambre, okay, I am hungry. Notice how in Spanish, when we're talking about something like hunger or thirst, we use tengo instead of estoy, okay? Why is that? It's just what the Spaniards decided, okay? So I have hunger or I have thirst. Tengo hambre, tengo sed, okay? ¿Dónde está el baño? Of course, a very important phrase to know. And el baño can also mean the bath, okay? El baño. In Mexico, many times we'll call the bath, like the bathtub, la tina, okay? Una mesa para dos, por favor. A table for two, please. La cuenta, por favor. Okay? The bill, please, or the check. Okay? Now, many times they will ask you, is it going to be with cash or card, especially here in Mexico. So, many times they'll say el pago, right? El pago, meaning the payment, and they'll say va a ser. So here, is the payment going to be? That means it's going to be, and they'll have something like this. Con efectivo, meaning cash, o tarjeta, for example. Okay, is the payment going to be with cash or card? Now, you could say, okay, va a ser con tarjeta, it's going to be with card, but many times here in Mexico, they will ask you, or you can say, la terminal, or you can just say, con terminal, okay? So, la terminal, meaning the cash reader card or the card reader, the card reader, okay? La terminal, or el pago va a ser con terminal, okay? That's basically meaning you are going to pay with card, okay? All right, está delicioso, it's delicious. We can also just say está rico, more common here in Mexico, está rico, okay? Like, ¿qué tal todo? How's everything? Está muy rico todo, like everything's delicious, okay? The rico can also mean rich, okay? So, él es rico, he is rich, okay? No me gusta, I don't like it. If we're talking about a plural thing, so let's say I don't like the bottles, then I would just say no me gustan, meaning I don't like them, okay? Next, me gusta mucho, I really like it. So mucho just meaning a lot, okay? And finally, we have time in everyday activities. So, ¿qué hora es? What time is it? Literally, what is the hour, okay? Es temprano, okay? It's early. Careful with pronto. Many people think that that means early, but pronto just means soon. So, for example, él va a llegar pronto. He's going to arrive soon, okay? Whereas temprano would be early. So, oh, es temprano. I'm tired, okay? It's early in the morning, okay? Es tarde. It's late. Tengo que irme. I have to go. Now, check this out. What's going on with this me here, okay? Now, when we turn this into a reflexive, so now instead of just saying ir, tengo que ir, I have to go, me turns us into the translation of to leave, okay? So when ir becomes reflexive, then it turns into this translation into English as of to leave, okay? So you might have heard this before, me voy, me voy, meaning I am leaving, okay? Me voy, okay? Voy could mean I am going, okay? Whereas me voy means I am leaving, okay? So, tengo que ir, I have to go. Tengo que irme, I have to leave, okay? Voy al trabajo, I'm going to work. Now, what's up with this al here, okay? Well, al is just a plus el, okay? So, I am going to the work. Now, why does el trabajo need to be el trabajo instead of just trabajo by itself? Because if I say trabajo by itself, it might sound like I'm saying I work. Remember that we have the verb in Spanish, trabajar, meaning to work. Okay, so in the first person singular, trabajo means I work. So we add on this article, el, to let us know that we're talking about work and not I am going to I work. No, I'm saying I go to work, okay, or I am going to work, okay? Estoy cansado, I am tired, and if you're female, estoy cansada. Next, tengo sueño, I am sleepy, okay? Also notice how we're using the tengo there once again, okay? Nos vemos mañana, see you tomorrow morning, or just see you tomorrow. Notice how nos vemos. This is also a reflexive. Well, kind of. Nos representing us. So we will see each other tomorrow. But it just means see you tomorrow. Okay? All right? Then we have cuídate, literally meaning take care of yourself. It's actually a command. Okay? Cuídate. And finally, buen día. Have a nice day. Now, buen día can mean good day. So let's say I walk by someone and say, hola, buen día. Hey, good day, for example. Now, you may have heard this phrase that we have, which is que tengas buen día. Okay, oops. Que tengas buen día. So, may you have a good day. And tengas is in the subjunctive mood. Now, that's very advanced. We're not going to go over that in this video. But the quick idea is that it's not a guarantee that you're going to have a good day. There's doubt, and therefore we will say tengas. Okay, so que tengas buen día. Bueno, I know that was a lot of information. Muchas gracias por ver este video. Espero que hayas aprendido algo nuevo. Hope you've learned something new. If you'd like to learn more Spanish from me, click the link in the video description to check out our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, or you can just go to SpanishWithNate.com. Our goal is to have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish in 90 days without feeling unconfident. So check it out at SpanishWithNate.com, or you can just click the link in the video description to check it out. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.